Okay, let's solve an absolute value equation. If you have some numbers outside of your absolute value bars, your first step is to get rid of those. We don't want to distribute. We want to get rid of the numbers on the outside. So we first get rid of what's being added or subtracted. In this case, I have -3. So I want to undo that by adding 3 to both sides. So I'm going to add 3 to my 13, and that's going to give me 16. That'll cancel that out. So 2 times the absolute value of x minus 7 is equal to 16. The next thing I want to do is I want to divide this 2, get rid of that 2 on the left side of the absolute value. 16 divided by 2 is 8. The absolute value of x minus 7 is equal to 8. Now, once you get it to this form, you have 2 equations. One of them is going to be the absolute value equation without the absolute value bars, as it is. The other equation is going to be the absolute value equation without the absolute value bars, but making the number on the right side negative. So to solve that, we're going to add 7 to both sides. That gives me on this equation 8 plus 7, which is 15. And that gives me on this equation -8 plus 7, which is -1. If the question asks for the sum needs to add. So in this case, the sum would be 15 plus -1, which would be 14. So the sum of those two answers is 14, but each individual answer is 15 and -1. We can also solve this using Desmos, so I'll show you how to do that as well. What we can do on this problem is I'm going to click the home screen. If you have other stuff, that'll get you back to the original problem. So I'm going to put what I see first in here. 2 absolute value of x minus 7, close it up, -3. 2 absolute value of x minus 7, close it up, -3. I'm going to next, in a new line, put y equals 13. Y equals 13. And I'm going to drag my graph up so I can see that 13. Now, what's important on this problem is that we find where these two graphs meet. So they're going to meet where the purple and the green lines cross in my situation at -1, 13 and 15, 13. The x values are going to be your solution, so -1 and 15. You can also get away with doing equals 12. It doesn't allow you to see the absolute value graph, but if you do that, it'll give you vertical lines. The downside of that is it doesn't always give you the number you can click on. So, oops, that wasn't 12, was it? It was 13. It doesn't give you the number it clicked on. You can see it crosses at -1, and if you do go over to the right, and you zoom in, it crosses at 15. So you can get your answers that way too. I like seeing the V shape to kind of get a more visual for the graph. So that's up to you, but either way, you'd still add those together and you would get your final solution.